All right, so I was listening to a little bit of G-Man's video the other day, and yes, this is actually my bedroom. I moved my laptop since my wife is no longer working from home. Uh, Jade Empire's ready. Uh, the the new direction that G-Man wants to take this year, he wants to separate his channels, and I think it's a smart move. He's going to use the GTV channel for more of science, and I think he said he's going to talk about sports, and I think he mentioned games. Feel free to correct me, G-Man. I want to say you mentioned that. That might have been another time, but definitely like sports and science, and that's really what I want. That's really what I want to get on because I made a little half-hearted joke that yeah, you're going to talk about science, and I'll be there to correct you. I'm genuinely curious what you're going to talk about because I did hear from a little birdie that Antonio is going to be assisting with this because Antonio is studying molecular biology. A word to the wise is not to try and jump into the area that you think is just cool and to kind of start from the bottom and work your way up. Because if you don't understand basic chemistry, you're not going to understand molecular biology. That's I'm sorry, that's just how it works. Um, it's not like other subjects. You have to have the ground laid for that. Like you have to have the foundations in order to understand what you're going to be reading in that material. It's like that's why you don't just jump into a genetics course. You have to take at least the first two intro bios before you go into it. So that would be my suggestion. Start from there and work your way up. But this little intro video um, here. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Did not mean to do that. All right. So I guess this is the intro. It's not bad. Wish he would have included some stuff, maybe him holding up a test tube or something. I don't know. What is science? And he gives a pretty good definition. I don't think this is obviously not his definition. Hold on, let me go back to it. It's just a short video. So, what is science? The intellectual and practical. My thing is, I can't see. Okay, okay, here we go. The intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment. Now, that sounds like one of the definitions you'll find in one of my textbooks. They're less robust definitions, but that's perfectly fine. Like that is a really good definition that can cover the hard and soft sciences. So, go into here's what I found interesting. Okay, let me scroll down here before it runs into my little border down there. Not everything that claims to be science is science. So I'm not even sure what to say about that. What for him to say that is funny. Like we all know G-Man, but my initial reaction to that is what makes G-Man think that he has some type of authority to even begin to say that. Like that to me is like one of the most hilarious things for somebody who has not actually studied the topic formally, barely informally, that can just simply eschew entire fields of study because he doesn't understand it. And that's honestly what it'll come down to. And I have no problem with making that prediction right now. It's simply something he does not understand. And that oftentimes it is. It took this dude almost 3 years to figure out that Pokemon evolution wasn't, modern evolutionary synthesis. So I like maybe he could do a response video and explain to me what he means by that. Like what yeah, not everything that claims to be science is science. Okay. You know what? You know what? Yeah, I'll agree. I'll agree with him on that. And I'll go into a little bit of a discussion I had on Facebook with, of course, this radical evangelical intelligent design proponent. One of the questions that she asked me was that why are uh, ID proponents kind of shut out like right at the door with some of their claims? Well, I told her they don't have a null hypothesis. What she wanted was, oh, they hate Christians, and Christians are just trying to preach the truth, and all these mean, evil, smarty pants atheists are just, shitting on Jesus. That's what she wants to hear. But in reality, there's no null hypothesis. That is what's really wrong with it. So uh, I want to try and move away from the bullshit and really get into some of the meat and potatoes of science that people don't understand. And I think that'd be a bit more constructive, and I think folks would grasp science a bit better from a conceptual level, because it has evolved, over fucking decades. Uh, one of the more than decades. One of the things that we don't really talk about enough is like what qualifies, like, uh, and I'll give you an example. Me saying null hypothesis means little to nothing to folks. But if I tell you that I want to do an experiment, right? My experiment is based on an observation. I observed Canadian geese drinking from little pools that had formed on the ground of water right after it rained, right? Very simple. My observation of these geese drinking from these little pools of water right after rain, uh, coupled with the fact that I know that there is a nearby body of water that I've seen said geese in, but I've never seen them drink from, leads me to believe that they know something about the water. Now, I don't know that. I don't speak foul. Uh, but I do know that there are a lot of pathogens in that body of water because I personally tested it. Yes, I've done tests. It's on my channel. So, do the geese know this? Is there some type of behavior that they picked up to where they're aware of this? I don't know. Maybe they get, GI issues if they drink that water. I don't know. So, immediately, if I start forming this hypothesis, I need to determine what is my criteria for falsification. Well, instantly, if I see them drink from that body of water, then I'm done. That's it. I can't move forward with that because that just disproved my hypothesis, right? With intelligent design, you don't see a null hypothesis. And oftentimes, like the lady that I was speaking to on Facebook, she didn't realize that even though she had a few paragraphs where she had the observation, hypothesis, the experiment, conclusion, yada yada, her hypothesis and her experiment were the same thing. And I even point out that it uses the same language. If you say that I see design and then I look and I see design, that how is that objective? Okay. If I use my own experiment and say I see geese drinking from the pool, and my experiment is for me to watch from them drinking from the pools again, how is that going to show whether or not they have the ability to discern one body of water from the other? You see what I mean? So these are some of the very basic things that you learn in an intro bio class that a lot of people have a hard time grasping, and I think that having people form their own experiments will give them the type of experience that they need to really understand this. And this experiment, by the way, I did not do. I spoke to Fiona, and she pointed out something that I had thought in the back of my head, is that it'd be hard for me to really prove this, since I would have to monitor the geese 24/7, which I can't do. So I would have to watch, like, or pick like a group of 5 or 6 of them, and then just monitor them for actually more than 24 hours, and see if they're actually drinking from the body of water that I know, is just filled with nasty fucking, pathogens. So that was my limitation there. But the second if I would do that and I see them drink from the body of water, then that's it. I'm done. So that's something to keep in mind, folks. Like I said, it's very basic science, and it's sad that when we talk about not everything that claims to be science is science, intelligent design is one of them.